the hardest thing in the world to do is think. That's why so few people do it.
Good communication is irreplaceable in the business. You got to think, you decide, and then you communicate. Can't do it in reverse. The superstar will walk in the door. You'll have your wins. But is that level of success sustainable beyond this superstar who's walked in your door to the point where you frustrate him and he walks out the door? There is nothing complicated about a business, but we do have procedures for all of it. And when we follow the procedure, it's easy to bring new people in. It provides a safe place for the average worker to work. Our 5 pillars of customer care, and they really stick out.
I have a thing where I say that you can't service the external customer better than you will service each other.
That's true. If it's kept tidy, like the housekeeping is tidy, there's every likelihood that much of the rest of the job will be done well and it'll be tidy.
That's such good discipline, isn't it? Welcome to Slicing Through the Noise, the podcast for leaders about leaders who tell real stories about what it takes to make things happen. Our guest today is Rodney Crestani, the Managing Director of Horizon Coatings, with decades of experience in leadership and scraping his knees, getting up, pulling himself up by the bootstraps and going again. So welcome, Rodney.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you. And as I was saying earlier, it's about a decade since you contacted us or we contacted you. I have no idea which way it went. And it's been really a fruitful time.
Yes. Yeah. Look, certainly we've changed a lot in the time. It's frequently 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then you have another go. But yeah, look, there's been a lot of change over that time. But all in all, we're still here and still punching away.
I just love some of the words that you use, like how do you bring operational excellence in a project-based business where trust, safety, quality, and scale are the thing that you're actually chasing. So you're in a high-stakes, competitive environment. And how do you do that? And how do you do it consistently?
All right. So I've always been a believer, good people come into your business, but good people leave your business as well. And, while they're there, you've got the benefit, of their talent. But when they go, you're left with a big hole. So I've always thought that good people is great, but a good system, a good procedure that the good person uses and also the not so good person uses, and we're all on the same page. And I think, certainly in Horizon Coatings over the years, we've refined those business processes for a little painting business where I think sophisticated in our business processes. We run a business where a good number of the people are overseas, and they're in important roles for the business. So you do need good procedural control. And of course, when, a good or great person comes along, they jump in on our, on our systems, our procedures, and we really see the benefit of that. They really blossom. And, the company goes along with it. It's very good.
So when you think about, like, I know you've spent a lot of time and energy on systems and processes. It's a little piece of gold that most people just go all willy-nilly all over the place. What would you say to them if they don't get good systems and processes? Let's have a chat to our listeners and go, what happens in a business that doesn't have it?
Well, I think you'll have your wins. The superstar will walk in the door. You'll have your wins. But, is that level of success sustainable beyond this superstar who's walked in your door? Do you do things like give all the problem jobs to the superstar because he'll fix them to the point where you frustrate him and he walks out the door, So, look, I think you must have systems. You've got people who are coordinating. And And I always say to people who come into our business, there's nothing about our business that is complicated. But until we tell you how you do it, how we do it, you don't know how we do it. And that's from a range of people, from our supervisors to our administrators, our estimators, those people in management roles. There is nothing complicated about a business, but we do have procedures for all of it. And when we follow the procedure, it's easy to bring new people in. And we should generally tick along knowing what the next thing is.
Yeah.
That's generally my thought.
So I just had a thought while you were saying that. I've noticed that you can take some people who aren't a superstar with good procedures and processes. They actually will perform even better.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay. Well, I honestly think when it comes to procedures, we've all got people like or businesses like IBM to thank for it. Like I don't know. I was living in Asia when I got my first computer.
Yeah.
And I think computerizing systems causes businesses to become procedural based. If you can't go to the next step until you hit enter, you can't go. So, and that may be very simplistic, but, putting in procedures that rely on, data and digital thought, I think is good. I do think it provides, a safe place for the average worker to work.
Yeah.
He knows the rules.
Yeah.
He may even know he's never going to be a superstar,
Yeah.
but he can exist in this environment,
Yeah.
So I think, it does lift people.
Yeah.
It does lift people. And, the fact is not every person who walks in the door is a superstar,
Well, most of us aren't.
No, that's right. and the odd one that walks in, he generally walks out, at some point in the future. So
and it's like, yes, you want to nurture your superstars. I've come to the conclusion that it's the people who show up every day,
that's right,
who do the job to the very best of their ability, that also have the capacity to look at the system and process and go, hey, if we did it like this, rather than like that, this would actually increase our productivity.
Sure.
And they add value. And when they are given that, it's amazing what can actually happen.
Yeah, and we certainly try to impress upon all our people that, okay, the system is the system. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone, and it doesn't mean it can't be better. No matter what your role is in the business, if you see a better way, put your hand up and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And if it is the better way, let's adopt it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back a few decades from mechanical engineering, practical solutions in first leadership. What are some of the things that you learned when you very first stepped into leadership roles? What are the big mistakes you made? The great wins? They're not as exciting as the stupid things we do.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in Asia, essentially managing bits of businesses. There, I always thought I was employed one or two steps up from where I should have been. When I was the general manager, maybe I should have been the operations manager or a divisional manager of some sort.
So what did that do to you?
Oh, you had to learn a lot on the hop, and I think in latter years of my life, I benefited from it. But you certainly, if you were going to survive, you had to learn, and you had to find your allies.
Yes.
And there were people who I guess were more experienced than I, who were around me, and you needed their help, and you needed to be able to get them on your team. That was important. And along the way, you have both wins and losses that you do not deserve, and we won some enormous projects for the business I was in. bigger than anywhere in the world. We
Yeah.
won big projects. That caused a bit of stress in certain parts of the business. You know, certainly back in head office, they were concerned about things that we did.
Mm.
And, you know, that was relayed to us. We had to work very hard to deliver those projects, there's no doubt. And, you know, at the end of it, we were all very tired. Not, you know, and I mean that sincerely. We worked really hard for, particularly in Malaysia, we worked really hard there for probably 3 years. And we did well, you know, we did well. But at the end of it, everyone was tired. The business changed and we all went home.
Okay, so let's leap forward a little bit. A leap from project leader to business leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you stopped doing to become effective as a leader, and what have you started doing? So let's start with, what have you stopped doing as you moved into owning the whole?
Well, I think you've got to be able to step back from the detail of any matter.
Yeah.
You know, I always think of the principle of whatever's going on. I think of the procedure of whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And if we are across those items, what is actually going on should be, you know, discernible to someone, but I don't necessarily need to know the detail.
So that's a really little piece of gold there. It's like when you step up into that senior leadership, giving up that you have to know all the detail is really tough.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard.
Say some more about that.
Yeah, look, again, when I started very early, I was designing things and doing things, and I used to really enjoy the detail. I had a boss who mentored me for a long time, and he really made me learn the detail, you know, and it was so safe in there because I knew it. And so as you draw, you know, get further and further away from the detail, you lose some of that confidence you had. Things that you used to know, you can't even remember. And, you know, you've got it written in a book somewhere and you've got to go find it. But, you can't remember it. But I think it is very important that no matter the result or the matter you're dealing with, I like, you know, the principle of the matter to be correct. I like the fact that we followed the procedure. I feel very responsible that whatever we said we would do for the customer or anyone, we've done it.
Yeah.
You know, we've really done that.
I think, like, one of the things that one of my mentors said to me years ago was that the devil is in the detail. And so if you're not doing the detail, one of the things I've learned is having people around me that are really good at that. Like, I've never loved it. Like, you loved it. I've never loved it.
I'm not even sure I love it, and I don't even think I'm particularly good at it, at the detail. Like some
you just know how important it is.
Yeah, some people say, no, you are good at the detail. But no, I don't particularly love it. And I think more and more in this modern you know, world we live in, there's less people who are interested in the detail.
So here's something. Maybe we can have a little chinnywag about this. Like, I have a thing that the detail's really important. It doesn't mean you need to do it.
No.
And as a leader and a business owner, there's some things that you absolutely need to know about what's going on. What would you say are some of those? They're not like you're in the murk of the detail, but you high level must see X for you to relax. And I know I'm a bit like that. I kind of know the process and I'm looking for what's the thing. How do you decide what those things are?
So in my case, we have projects which happen away from the office. You know, they're out on a building site. I feel that I can walk onto a building site and within a short period of time, you know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, either find the indicators I want that we're in some good shape here, or I see things that indicate, no, we're not in the best shape here.
Yeah.
And I would think, if I can identify them, the people who are running the projects, they can identify them as well. And I don't know, I guess when you're down, amongst the trees, it's easy to find a reason that things aren't quite as good as they should be. I've been there. It's easy to find that reason. But really, there are indicators, certainly on projects, that very quickly you can get a feel for what's going on. And I guess in your business as well, there are monetary indicators.
Yes.
I guess human resource indicators that would very quickly give you an indication whether things are going the way they should be.
Yeah. So if you were talking to someone who's aspiring in leadership, those little things that you just see out of the corner of your eye are the important things that you don't dismiss. Well, I don't. I see
you
them.
Can't walk past them.
No.
And you don't have to start World War III on, everyone you miss. But, what's the point of observing them if you don't note it, and
when you do pull people up and obviously, you want a certain standard, you've got a reputation for the work that you deliver at Horizon, what happens when you give them feedback? How are you expecting them to take it?
For the people I have in the business, I'd expect that they take it in a positive manner. And look, I probably don't always deliver it in the best positive manner either. But
what's the worst thing you've ever done when you've been annoyed?
No, I can't talk about that.
You can't talk about
it. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
I notoriously have a short temper. For me, I see what I want very clearly, and I'm not too worried about all these other peripheral things going on. I want to go there quickly.
Yeah.
And that's could even be unfair on people.
Yeah.
But
never.
I don't think you achieve a lot by screaming and yelling at people.
Doesn't work.
No. And that said, it remains probably one of my biggest weaknesses that I do. I'm fairly short.
Yeah. Well, so, how have you tempered that? Because, most people in leadership, my experience is, a lot of the people that I know, is we've got short straws. It's like, hello, I said this, now what?
I think, well, look, certainly with age, I have mellowed a touch.
A touch?
I've certainly tried to be more conscious of it, and certainly the work I've done with you guys has helped me. I'm far more conscious of what I'm feeling, what I'd like to say.
Yeah.
When I want to say it. But I think you've got to, screaming and yelling doesn't work.
Yeah. Well,
most of the time.
Yeah, you can do it in the bathroom, in the shower. I've done that a few times. Like scream at the shower head as it blasts me in the face. So, what would you say is some of your default operating rhythms, like site visibility, meetings, reporting, that keep you delivering on a tight frame without micromanaging?
I like to, touch the key people every day. Give them a call. We have catch-up meetings. I have a standing meeting at 4:00 every afternoon that anyone can jump in and, and deal with a matter or say something.
Oh, okay.
Get back out.
So you create like a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting, and you're there, and they can jump in and out.
Yeah, or not.
Or not.
But
Have you ever
certainly,
sat there by yourself with no one to talk to?
yes, it does. But certainly the
That's a
guys,
great idea.
the guys on site, they I like to speak to them on an every day. The key guys on site,
Yeah.
it might be half a dozen phone calls that we need to make. But during the course of the day, and it could be a minute. It could,
Yes.
if there's something going on, it could be 10. But
Yeah.
if I know that their painters have showed up, the builder's not chasing
Yeah.
them, we've got no complaints.
Yeah.
Let's go again.
I really like that. I'd call that like your touch points.
Yeah.
Like, what are the touch points that actually lets you know the operating rhythm, it's working?
Mm.
And
with those guys and ladies I talk to every day, you can hear when they're stressed and they're worried, and you can delve further into it.
yeah,
Everyone is different, of course. Some, when they're stressed, you hear it. You hear
yeah,
it, and yeah.
And you lean in.
Oh yeah, and look, I want to help. It doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't help the business to send someone out who doesn't have the answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm also a great believer in my type of business, and I guess everyone's business, that good communication is irreplaceable in the
Yes.
business. We have a thing in the business where we say on all matters,
Yes.
you must think,
Yes.
you decide, and then you can talk.
Yes.
You can't do it in reverse. You can't just sit there and talk,
Yeah.
realize what you've said is just not going to work, and go back and make some new decisions, and then realize, geez, I should have thought that through. So
don't use a word salad to describe something.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, I've gone to so many meetings with senior leaders, and they're standing up there doing their very inspirational thing, and all you've got is a word salad. And I go, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, and certainly that doesn't help our business at all. When we talk, we're using basic English. We're using basic concepts. We're not. It's not a complicated
thing. So give us
thing.
those three things. You got to think.
Oh, you got to think. You decide, and then you communicate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then some air can come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I really like that. That is very powerful.
But on some matters, it's very quick.
Yes.
It's a 5-second process.
Yes.
On other matters, you might sit and think for a week before you decide to put your hand up. I don't know, but and it's in the thought. It's in that thought process where the benefit to the business lies. And it's those people who can think it through, the different aspect of they're doing in the business, who can think it through. They come up with a good solution.
Yes. There's a great quote that I heard decades ago from Henry Ford, and he said, the hardest thing in the world to do is think. That's why so few people do it.
It's probably close to the truth.
And I go, and over the years, I've learned to shut up and sit there thinking, I don't quite know how to do this.
Oh, yeah, and I think there's a lot of imposters out there.
Yes.
And
tell us more about how you feel about what goes down with that imposter stuff that people think they know when they don't.
I don't like it. Look, to me, taking responsibility for what the business does, taking responsibility for what I do is really important. In the process, you're not always going to be popular. You're going to have a lot of people who, may disagree with your point of view, but I think you owe it to everyone in the process to do that. You've got to take ownership of what you're doing. To me, it's imperative.
So I know that for you, you've built an emphasis on trusted relationships, collaboration, partnerships, and long-term partnerships. Say some more about what it's taken to build that kind of reputation.
I think you've got to contribute to the relationship. And, I think of people who I've worked with,
Yeah.
customers we've worked for, um, those people who may be on the periphery of what we actually do, like the people at the bank, the lawyer, the accountant,
Yeah.
It's not just a one-way, I'll take it all.
Yeah.
You've got to contribute a lot to that relationship. And, sometimes you get the stuff back and sometimes you don't.
Yep.
I sound like a pessimist, but I'm always amazed at what some people, or how some people conduct themselves and think that that's good.
Yeah.
And it can be on the most minor of things or on bigger matters. And I think certainly for me, I just feel the responsibility. That I've really got to do my best. I want my business to do its best, and hopefully our best gets us there. But I do sense that responsibility, and I owe it to people to do that.
Do you know? I do think that I don't think anyone wakes up in the morning and thinks they're going to go to work and just cause a havoc.
No. Well, I hope not.
And yet havoc happens. And when you're building relationships, no matter how it is, it takes something to wend your way through that when it's not going the way you think.
Getting people who own the matter.
Yes.
And even when the matter's not going well.
Yes.
But that's mine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to fix it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. And, it might take the afternoon. It might take a month.
Have you ever known what happens to you when people don't own the matter?
Yeah, look.
What happens? I mean, I know what I do, but what do you do?
I think it's really hard to commit to that person.
Yes.
You see what's going on. I guess you may see what the solution is, but you don't necessarily need the person if you're going to go do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's in any aspect of life, I think. I think it's really hard for that person to get the commitment they're going to need. Whether it be from me or the people they work with or the people that work for them,
Just a little piece of gold there about when you own the matter, when you own what's going on, then you get the commitment of the people around you.
Yes. And, people want to work with people who are reliable.
Yes.
And that can be anything from showing up on time to talking some sense on any particular matter or, the business delivers what it said it would deliver.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
So, you lead the business. You've also personally stayed hands-on in some of the operational focus, so that you maintain your high standards, etc. What does that look like in practice? What do you inspect, measure, and reinforce?
Okay. So, the projects we do can be, we're not on the very big end of town. It can be anything from, say, $500 to $1 million.
Yeah.
We allocate budgets on all of them. No project gets sent out into the field without a budget.
Yep.
When it comes to measuring the financial performance of each project, we're able to do that. Our projects are not very complicated, not very complex, so we're able to do that fairly well. When it comes to customer satisfaction and customer complaint, I like to know all of it.
Yeah.
We communicate a crazy amount in WhatsApp. There's a chat group for everything and for every project and for every
Wow.
painter. Oh, it's crazy. And without, exaggerating, I would send 300, 400 WhatsApp messages around the company every day.
Oh.
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Every day?
Yes.
Oh, my God, you live in WhatsApp.
Well, that probably...
because a lot of your work is like you're not
remote.
there.
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
remote.
Yeah, it's remote. And, I want to tell you something, but I want this lady over to hear that I told you something.
Yeah.
So when you're not here and she's not here, certainly WhatsApp and that chat
yes.
group environment is...
Yeah, we use WhatsApp because
Yeah.
it's such a great chat environment.
Yeah. So, the things that are measurable, and when I go out to sites, I look for those touch points that I think are important.
Yeah.
I seek out the customer's representative on the job.
Yeah.
And I encourage him to
Yeah.
criticise us.
Yeah.
So
tell me a time when a project did go sideways and what are the leadership moves that you made to recover it?
Okay. So when things go bad in our business, I always know, I know somewhere in that project we've left behind our values. And we also have another thing in the business called our 5 pillars of customer care. And they really stick out. Tell
us more about that.
Sorry?
Tell us more about that.
Okay, well, our 5 pillars are real basic things. If you get an email today, you're going to answer it today.
Yeah.
If you get a phone call now and you can't take it now, you'll reply within an hour. And in our business, you can do that. No one goes missing for 3 days unless you're on leave.
Yep.
We say we must be proactive.
Yeah.
We must take ownership.
Yeah.
And the last one is we must have empathy for the customer.
Yeah.
And the customer is anyone who walks in your door.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to someone now, I'm your customer.
Yeah.
You're my customer. And then if we go out to a real customer out in the external world, obviously we want to care for them really, really well. So
I think you just gave something there that's really important. So if you're talking internally to someone, they're your customer.
Absolutely.
And I have a thing where I say that you can't service the external customer better than you will service each other.
That's true.
And that's what I just heard in what you said.
Yeah, and whenever we go bad on things go south on a job, we can pull it out and talk amongst ourselves. And what happened here?
Who didn't talk to?
Yeah, and it could be I got too busy.
Yes.
Okay, and there'll be times people get too busy, but the ownership, the proactiveness in our thinking ought to say, "Hey, I need some help."
Yeah.
And hand on heart, I don't know of any circumstance where anyone's come and said, "I need help," and we said no. That's mad. So,
that's also it's beyond mad. It's insane.
Yeah, and you're sitting there knowing that you're failing, knowing that you can't make it better, and you don't ask for help. That's not smart.
So, when you think about that, it's how come people don't put, if you're thinking as you lead people, how come people don't put their hand up when they actually require support?
I guess it's fear of, generally this fear of being wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's fear of not knowing and looking like you don't know. And, the crazy thing is whatever this person over here is struggling with, this person over here went through it last month. He may even have the answer for you. Yeah. And the answer is, again, what we do is not complicated. The answer is not complicated.
Yeah.
We've had times when our business put the financial performance of a project as the paramount thing. And it's important we make money.
Well, you're not a charity, are you?
No, it's important we make money. But it's very important we deliver good quality, we deliver great relationships, We deliver the thing on time.
Yeah.
We don't kill anyone in the process. We operate a safe business. And for a little business, all those things can be difficult, but that's what we're signing up for.
Yeah.
And, the financial performance still remains important. It still remains important.
Well, you want everyone to have a job next next year.
Yeah.
And to do that, you need the financials.
Mm.
So I just really love that piece about, if someone can't put their hand up and ask for that help and support that they need, then culturally, we as leaders need to go look at ourselves and say, what is it that I'm creating that they wouldn't?
Mm.
Yeah. And it's not wrong and it's not right. It's just like a question for us to ask ourselves. So you've had a continuous improvement philosophy. Yeah. What's one change you've made that returned more than you ever expected?
Sometimes the changes I've made are not deliberate. They're forced upon us.
Mm-hmm.
And, you leave the office in the evening thinking, well, how are we going to get out of this one?
Yes.
But it does open your eyes to other opportunities. We had a circumstance recently where a good amount of our regular business left the business.
Oops, you go. Cash down.
Look, and I wondered what happens next.
Yeah.
But it did force us to think, and get ourselves organised. And as a result, we have new customers now. We have new customers. The key old customer that left is back.
Funny that.
Funny how it works. Yeah, everyone's got to learn their lesson. And I think the other thing as well, when these changes happen, you've got to move quick.
Yes.
And there's not always time for the assurance that what you're doing is working or, is going to work.
Yeah.
You'd hope you get it more right than wrong, I suppose. But sometimes you get it wrong.
Absolutely. Like, it's just business.
Yeah, it's when we first started, we set the rules on how we wanted the business to perform, and we stuck by the rules really close. And when the rules couldn't be met, we went and found some other business. Went and did something else.
Yeah. That's a big thing because, it's like when. Like if someone leaves as a client, they actually create space for you to do that thing that you said earlier. Think.
Yes.
Right? Make some decisions. Now move. Right?
Yeah, and again, obviously we got comfortable with that client. They got comfortable with us. And, while you're all sitting there comfortable and looking at each other and trying to keep this
having a love affair.
Yes, keep this customer satisfied. Other things are going on around you, but you're not looking at them. You're not thinking about them.
No.
And you're getting out of touch with them.
Yeah.
So certainly this last, I'm going to say 18 months, we've got in touch with parts of the market that we'd let go. There's a significant part of the market that we are still just starting on again now. And, we're approaching it a little bit differently to how we've done it in the past. So, I'm hopeful that, it's not all over yet.
No. So here's a couple of quick lightning questions.
Okay.
I want you to think of a meeting that you used to have in your business that you eliminated that nobody misses, even though you don't have it anymore.
We used to have a weekly sales meeting.
Yes.
And now we just have 50 weekly sales meetings, but they're all 30 seconds long.
Oh, no.
And there's a lot of, what happened about that? Did you do this? And not just me asking them, a lot of people asking me, I've got this, can we sign it off?
Yeah.
We do that a lot. And again, I think we're fairly quick and responsive to move. we thought we'd won a job 48 hours ago. I think it's changed 3 times in the last 48 hours. So the price goes up, the price goes down, the scope changes, and the man we talked to, he's now left, and we've got, and so all that. So you've got to move quick, and you've got to be responsive. You've got to service these people. So certainly that sales meeting, I don't miss it, but I don't feel like I'm out of touch with where we're putting our effort.
So how about, what's a question that you ask yourself as you walk on site? Or if you're going to site, what's something you ask yourself?
Ask myself. I know I want to see the customer. I know I want to see my supervisor of the work. I know I want to see my head painter. Ask myself. Don't know. Let me think.
Imagine. You're walking on the site.
So I walk on the site.
Something that you think of.
So, okay. So in order to paint any building that we paint, we have to buy a pile of paint. We're not buying a 2-litre can and sending it on.
Going to Bunnings and buying
No, we're buying it by the pallet load, and it gets separated, and I'm always careful about that because there's a lot of money sitting there and it's sitting on a site. But I always want to see that. Yeah. So I always ask the painter and the supervisor, show me the paint. They think, why, and I always think if it's kept tidy, like the housekeeping is tidy, there's every likelihood that much of the rest of the job will be done well, and it'll be tidy. We see it as well with painters who present to work tidy. Yes. Like frequently their clothes are covered in paint, but they're a painter. Yeah. But that doesn't mean they should be dirty. It doesn't mean they can come late. It doesn't mean, anything. But the way that a man or a lady presents themselves to work, I think, is a good indicator on how their day is going to go.
So I really like that. It's like, show me the paint. And it's the housekeeping.
The housekeeping around that.
Tells you everything about how this is going to go.
Yeah. I always remember I got into the painting game quite by accident, and where I worked, we had a foreman who was an old Italian man, and he used to get to site very early. He used to set up all the paint for all his painters, and he used to sit and wait for them to come. And he, painter number 1 would walk in, and he'd say, "Okay, there's your pot of paint. Go to level 7. Next one comes in. Here's yours. Go up to level 16. Finish what you did yesterday or whatever." And one by one, he'd line them all up and send them off. Such a basic thing, but by 7:30 he had everyone out working, and then he'd start walking the job, and catch the lift up to the top, walk all the way back down.
Hey, that's such good discipline, isn't it? Because that's discipline.
Yes, I think so.
Because now, and it's a procedure.
That's right.
Right.
That's
right. So this is how we do it around here.
This is my rules. This is my site.
Yeah, this is my site, and I own this site. And it goes like this, and it looks like this. So, I mean, it seems so basic, and it's not.
Many things are.
Well, I think what's that thing is like, if you want to become a superstar, you perfect the basics. Yeah, perfect the basics. Tell me a KPI that you check first each Monday. Coming into work, what's the thing you check?
Okay, so I'm going to go touch all my supervisors on the jobs on Monday morning. I want to know that the painters that they've got, I want to know how many there are, and I want to know that if 7 were to be on the job, we've got 7.
Yes.
And if it was, look, we got 5 and 2 came late, I want to know why.
Yes.
Because I think, and painting companies do this, and we've done it. Ultimately, we paint buildings. That's what we do.
Yes.
And I need painters to do that, and the painters are the painters, we get good and bad. And but, the there's a whole lot of other stuff that isn't painting that goes on. And I don't want to get trapped too much in that stuff. Yes, we need to win work. Yes, we need some money in the bank. Yes, we need to know whether we're making money or not. So all those accounting, things, selling, marketing, we do all of that. We IT, we do it all. And we're a little business. We're not great. But ultimately, we paint buildings, and we need painters, and we need them on the job. We don't need them on a broken down car, half an hour down the road, or we don't want them in the hospital dealing with some family matter. Okay, and that happens. We know that. But, we have circumstance where, 5 blokes get in a car of a morning and, we're expecting 9 fellas on site, 5 don't arrive, and they've gone somewhere else or some other matters happened. Or the man that was going to drive got sick. That's a good one. We get that one once a week somewhere.
The man that was going to drive is sick.
Yeah, so 3 of us
no one else
here.
can drive.
So we get that. But, I like to know that we're on site, we've got a plan for the day and we're out there servicing the customers.
So that first step.
Yep.
So what's the best leadership advice you were given, and the moment when you saw that what you were told, that's true, that is the case?
Okay. I think back, I first started managing businesses 30-something years ago.
Yeah.
I think about the man who was my boss. He was a time manager. That was important. And I, to this day, still watch the time. I got here 5 minutes early. That's normal. I think communications, I don't think he was a great communicator, but his boss was. And to this day, I really think it important that we spend enough time to do the thinking, make the decisions, and then communicate. And when you're communicating, invest enough time, use enough words to get your message through. So many times I see, someone tell a story and I think I know what they've said, and this person over here thinks they've said something totally different. So I have another quick story. I had a man who worked for me in overseas, and he was a project manager. I was the general manager, and he was better at project managing than I would ever be. He was really good. But he saw things so clearly. He saw the future so clearly, and he wanted to get there so quickly. He would not invest enough time in the communication of his ideas, And I always remember once we put a big-ish claim in against a customer, and I said, mate, I don't understand the basis of the claim. And he gets frustrated and says, I'll tell you again, I said, no, I don't think anyone's going to understand you. He goes, they've got to. I said, no, they don't. No, they don't. You might be right, but I don't think they understand you. So I sent him away. I said, mate, I want you to write it for me. He said, it'll take me forever. I said, good. Well, once you finish writing it, we can go to the customer. And we went to the customer and he got his money and, it was a very successful job. And again, he could do the job far better than I ever would have done. But his communication wasn't there, and
so, that's come up a few times in this conversation.
Oh,
it's like, if your communication, like people talk about communication and I go, it's this huge salad of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think some people can stay present enough to know what they're actually saying because they're in their heads. They're not with you. Right? And they're not gauging, did you get what I said?
No, I think you're right. And certainly that's a benefit too of making someone write it down.
Yes.
That, write it down, I'll read it, and you won't be here telling me all the bits you've left out.
Yes.
I'll read it and just say, yeah, I got it. Or no, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're running, anyone who's running, because you're running a project-based business, right? What are the 3 leadership practices that you believe if they focused on that, it would make all the difference?
Okay, so what we're going to be paid to deliver a project is a finite amount of money.
Yes.
So therefore, we enter into the implementation of the project with the plan that we will spend a finite amount of money, which is less than what we're going to get paid. So we make a little bit of money. So that idea of managing what we spend
Yeah.
and managing when we spend it is critical. That's critical. I think the communication between the business and the customer is critical.
Mm-hmm.
In what we do, there's lots of twists and turns, and even when we sign up to a job, if it's a bigger job, not all is as apparent as it should be or could be. So to fill those gaps in and fill them in a way that is of advantage to us, we need to communicate early.
Yeah.
We need to lead the conversations. We don't want to wait for our customer to come to us and say, hey, got another problem for you. We want to go to them first and say, look, that matter over there, we think we should do this, and lead them to where we want to go.
So on the front foot.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Be proactive with what we do.
Okay, so tell our audience today, who's Horizon Coatings and where could they find you if they wanted to use you, and where do you operate from?
All right, so we have a little office in Stanmore in Sydney, and that's the only office we have in Australia. At the moment, we operate in Sydney, regional New South Wales, Brisbane, regional Queensland. We still dabble a little bit in ACT.
Yeah.
But, at the moment, we have painters today working in Jervis Bay. We have them working in Bomaderry. On Saturday, we'll go back to Newcastle. We have painters on the Gold Coast today. We have painters on the Sunshine Coast today. And the bigger regional towns we have in Queensland, we have no one there today.
Yeah.
To find us, we're on, you find us on the internet. We are very well known in the market segments that we work. For a long time, we've priced every job for every builder, for every man that worked in the builder.
Yeah.
And they know us. And, we price work for years and not win anything.
Yeah.
We still service these people. But, I had only, not yesterday, the day before, a man's name pop up on my phone who I can remember. I've talked to him. I can't remember why, but he's now got a new job.
Yeah.
And at his old job, he never gave us any work.
Yeah.
But in his new job, the first job he's given us. So that's great,
Nice.
So sometimes it takes
So it's
time.
all that stuff that you said about maintain relationships. So thank you, Rodney. It was
That's all right.
so cool to talk to you. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It's about the service, how you communicate. And I really love those 3 things, like what are you doing? And don't open your mouth until you've done the thinking.
Well, I think it's important.
Yeah.
It's where you create value, I suppose.
So for our listeners, please share this podcast with other people, press that like button, and we'll see you next week.